Hi, and welcome to the PEI Election Calendar tutorial video. This is just going to be a very quick video on this spreadsheet tool that I made to make it hopefully a little bit easier to run mock elections in the classroom, especially for first past the post elections, but also mixed member proportional elections, to kind of do some of the math in the background to make it a little bit easier. So the very first step is you're going to need to have a Gmail account. And whenever you open the link to the election calendar, you can go File and Make a Copy. This is going to give us a version that we can edit. So I'm just going to keep this called PEI Election Calculator. The instructions are on the first slide, but we're just going to do like a very quick walkthrough of these steps. So the first thing that we're going to decide is the number of ridings that are happening in our election. So in Prince Edward Island, we have 27 ridings. And that would be under the proposed model of MMP, as well as the current model of first past the post. There are 27 ridings in both of those. So if you're running a first past the post election or a mixed member proportional election, and you want to keep that a mock election for Prince Edward Island, you can leave that 27. If you're running this with political parties that get created in your class, then maybe you're going to drop that number down, and that might impact some of how the votes get represented between the parties that you get created in your class if you have fewer number of ridings. So that might be something to keep in mind as well. The next thing that we have to do is set up our political parties. And we're going to do that in our Riding Candidates tab, because this is the first page where we're going to talk about the political parties. So in Prince Edward Island, we have the Liberals, we have the Progressive Conservatives, we have the Green Party, and we have the New Democratic Party. So I'm just going to set up some fake parties. We're going to have the Fox Party. We're going to have the Crow Party, the Lady Slipper Party, and we'll have the Blue Jay Party. So in here, we're going to enter the candidates that are going to run in our first riding. So we might have Terry Fox. We might have Gary Crow, Mary Lady Slipper, and Larry Blue Jay. So in this, our candidates are going to populate over in our candidate election. We can see the party that they represent, as well as the candidates for our first riding. And in our second riding, if we had the riding 2 candidates, they're going to show up in here as well. Same things if you're running 17 ridings of candidates or 27. That's just going to hopefully save you some time of typing them in all over the place. So you can fill out this. You could use numbers from election PEI and the candidates that were run in previous elections if you want to do that as well. And there's space for up to 10 political parties, which is way more than we typically have in a PEI election. But in a classroom, you might have a little bit more chaos or want to run a weirder model and talk about what happens with more political parties or more ridings. So right now we have 27 ridings that I've set up, but you could duplicate some of the ridings if you want to really play around with this sheet. Next is the ranked list of candidates. So if you're running a mixed member proportional election, you also need a ranked list of the candidates to decide which candidates get elected in the proportional seats. Note that this sheet doesn't have the candidates that we entered in the previous one, and that's because it's not tied to which riding they belong in. If you wanted to, you could treat it like that. But the rank list is going to be either decided by party officials or maybe in a party convention elected by the party members or something like that. So as a class, you might want to arrange these in a vote, or maybe have a member of the political party decide the order in which the candidates will be selected. And you'll want to fill in that list in that order, just to make it a little bit easier to decide who gets the proportional seats whenever the election runs through. So the next tab is our candidate elections. So we're going to use this sheet if we run a mixed member proportional election or a first past the post election. So what we have here is we have our candidates ordered by their party. So Fox Party, Crow Party, Lady Slipper Party, and Blue Jay Party. And then we're going to run our election. So we might use paper ballots. We might use a Google form to do online voting or something like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to run our election and we're going to tabulate our votes. So let's say we have something like 200, 150, 150 votes. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the sum of the number of votes that have gone through. So we've had 500 votes cast in this riding. We're going to see a breakdown of the popular vote. So 40% of the population supported Terry Fox, 30% supported Gary Crow, 20% Mary Lady Slipper, and 10% Larry Blue Jay. We're going to see a ranked list of which candidate came first, which candidate came second. And the candidate that came first is going to get bolded and also highlighted. So if I change Larry Blue Jay to 350 votes, that highlight's going to show up on him. And what we're going to see over here is we're going to see the total number of votes cast for each party and how many parties have been elected in a riding. So as we fill out more of this party, these parties will get more and more numbers in there until we decided the last partisan candidate election. So if that was 17 and we're doing a mixed member proportional system, then our 17 seats will show up here. If we're running a mixed member proportional system, we have one more step. If we're running a first past the post, we can kind of finish here. We can see the popular vote for each of the parties. So you might have some conversation about that. You might see which parties get seats. You might see which parties get votes, and be able to have some conversations about how the breakdown of those numbers. In a mixed member proportional election, along with the candidate on the ballot for your riding, you would also have a party vote. So you'd vote for your preferred party, regardless of your riding. So you might vote for the Fox Party, the Crow Party, the Lady Slipper Party, or the Blue Jay Party in this case. And you might vote for a candidate from one party in your riding, and then vote for a different political party because you prefer that party overall, but you might like a candidate more in your particular riding. With that second vote, you're going to add up all those votes for just the party vote, and you're going to enter those numbers here. So maybe, all right, so I went through and I added a whole bunch of numbers to our ranked candidates. So in our candidate list, we have 7 elected seats for the Fox Party, 5 for the Crow Party, and 5 for the Blue Jay Party. And the Lady Slipper Party didn't win any seats. So in our party results, we're going to look at the second vote tally. We're going to see our rank of votes, and we're going to elect our candidates based off of our proportional share. So in this is taking the percentage of the proportional election that's happening. It's multiplying it by the number of seats that are available and subtracting the seats that they've already won. So it's not giving a total number. And then what we're going to do is we're going to elect our candidates based off of where their rank in their proportional election. So we're going to go with 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So in this election, I ran 17 candidates. So we have 27 seats overall. So in our favored in the second vote, We have the Lady Slipper Party, and they're significantly underrepresented in our candidate list, in our candidate election. They didn't win any seats here. But they're a very popular party in terms of the second vote. So our calculator is telling us that they get 9 seats before we move on to the next party. And then our rank 2 party is the Fox Party. And they get 1 seat. And then we're at our 27. So even though the Crow Party gets 2 and 3rd, and the Blue Jay Party has this -1, they're overrepresented this, for how popular the party is in the second election. They don't lose a seat or anything like that, obviously. But we go in order of 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in our ranked list of candidates, so we're going to go to the ranked list. So for the Lady Slipper Party, it's going to be super easy because they didn't win any candidates. So we would just take our first 9 candidates and those would be elected. But for our Fox Party, they did pretty well in our candidate election. They won 7 seats. So we would have to go through our ranked list of candidates and just make sure that we would go to the first candidate that wasn't elected in their riding. So you'll probably have to do a little bit of flipping back and forth for this step, but it should make the math a little bit easier for if you want to run a first past the post or a mixed member proportional election. So I hope you use this tool and I hope that you get benefit from it. If you had feedback, please let me know. There'll be some information in a CC BY tab. They'll be available. Thank you very much and have a good day.